Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. It's a Thursday, a day that announces the weekend and gives you hope that rest is coming your way. It is the 16th of April 2026. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. Now, a bill designed to protect Uganda from foreign interference was read for the very first time on the 15th of April 2026 and read by the State Minister of Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi. Now, some MPs cited that the bill was sneaked to the floor of Parliament and never followed the right procedures, and legislators argue that the bill intends to target individuals, and some legislators are awaiting for the bill at committee stage to punch holes into it. Now, keep in mind that Parliament is left with only 3 weeks to pass this bill, yet it comes with a load of complications and yet stands with limited time. Under the bill, a Ugandan citizen living outside Uganda is classified as a foreigner, and a family member in Uganda receiving funds from that person could qualify as an agent of a foreigner. And of course, before a bank releases that money, it would be required to obtain a ministerial funding declaration and proof of authorization from the Minister of Internal Affairs. And the bill contains no exemption for remittances. We definitely follow it up as it unfolds, but it gets the hairs of every Ugandan standing. And looking at the side of the economics of the country, well, we watch as it unfolds. Now, I'm not alone this Thursday. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, as always, the A-Team, to kickstart your morning every single weekday. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, viewer. At least with Julia, I won't say good morning because we meet before coming on set.
I know, right?
But anyway, I like the mood, and I hope our viewer equally, you've woken up in good spirit. Because yes, it is Thursday, the evening of the weekend, because Friday we are ushering in the weekend.
Right.
And still you need to have that positive mindset.
Yeah.
Look at life with positivity. Don't tolerate negativity. Look at everything as possible until you fail.
Speaking of positivity, I'd like to just smile at the fact that we woke up putting on the same color, a very powerful color. Boldness.
Now, yesterday, yet again, I saw a challenge that we still have as a country.
Right.
Not knowing that in our laws, some members of society have not understood that even a suspect has rights.
Indeed.
Some members of society have not understood that a person is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a competent court.
Beyond reasonable doubt, yeah.
Beyond reasonable doubt, and going through a thorough judicial process. Now, we saw Christopher Okello back at the High Court's session at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center. And when his lawyers informed court that he wasn't feeling fine and they went for a break, some of the people who had come for that court sitting began expressing mannerism that is not that very friendly. Finally, when he resumed and told the judge that he wasn't feeling fine and could not continue,
Right.
some even wanted to throw chairs, you know. But these are things you should understand and interest yourself. First, know that yes, we are seeking for justice. And I'm not a devil's advocate. I'm also very upset with what happened. But we have laws to follow. That yes, this person is assumed and presumed innocent until the final day. Even if you have me on camera, we can say it's AI. you can say, but Robert, you have you on camera killing. I can tell you how many people did John Rainbow kill? He's on camera killing. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Will we take that as,
Evidence.
Was it acted? Today we have AI. Now, it is only court through a process that will tell us that this man did commit the offense.
Right.
I'm seeking for justice. I'm praying for justice. I want to remind you, this is just a public court. But we've had many times when suspects come out and clearly say they're not in possession. But I also want to pray for our brother, Morana Ronald, who is a blogger, in that accident that happened as they were offloading the suspect at Gaba Early Childhood Center when the prison van could not hold brakes and rammed into journalists, severely injuring Ronald Morana. We are praying for you. Of course, he doesn't have a particular media house, but he communicates. And he has a channel as well.
Definitely,
so we continue to pray for our brother.
We do pray for him.
We hope the Lord of grace and mercy, his hand extends to that.
That is very, very true. And one would wonder how would a prison vehicle not have been checked in line with
More so taking
before,
such a suspect of that nature.
How could it have lost its brakes? There's no way we can blame it on maybe things happen. So something went wrong, and that is human error. But anyways, let's look at what we have on the local scene as quickly as possible.
Well, the Vice President of Uganda, retired Major Jessica Alupo, stated the relevancy of unlocking the potential of Uganda's youth labor force as key driver to economic transformation. Alupo was addressing the 4th Annual National Labour Convention and Expo 2026 held in Kampala. The convention, held under the theme Unlocking the Potential of Uganda's Youth Labor Force, Advancing Productivity and Expanding Opportunities for Decent Work, attracted government, employers, workers and development partners to shape the country's labor agenda. The Vice President Alupo noted that despite progress in economic stability and infrastructure development, challenges such as skills mismatch, limited access to finance, and weak linkages between education and the labor market continue to undermine and hinder youth employment. Government said it is prioritizing investment, industrial growth, and strengthening labor laws to ensure fair wage, job security, and protection of workers' rights. Key government programs like the Parish Development Model, Youth Livelihood Program, and skilling initiatives aimed at empowering young people with employable skills were highlighted. Stakeholders at the convention were urged to move beyond dialogue and generate practical, scalable solutions to enhance productivity and expand government opportunities for Uganda's growing population. High Court Criminal Division still hearing evidence in the murder of the 4 children. The case against Christopher Okello Oyum, the accused who appeared at court premises around 11:30 a.m. However, as the prison vehicle was floating the suspect, it rammed into journalists who were covering the proceedings. In the accident, one blogger, Morana Ronald, was critically injured and later picked up by a security operative and rushed to Mulago Hospital. Later, court started with prosecution witness number 6 Namutebi Phoebe, a caretaker at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center, and cross-examined. During cross-examination, Namutebi confirmed that they really hosted Okello at the school and gave him a placement for Zurich Onyum. Prosecution witness number 7 was Annette Odong, the coordinator and in charge of school, who told court that the school had over 80 children at the time and when the tragedy happened. Odong told court that she first met Okello on the 2nd of April this very year when he visited the school to register his child, a request that was granted after payment of 190,000 Uganda shillings as school fees. However, during cross-examination, the defense raised inconsistencies in Odong's police statement, particularly regarding the presence of security guards at the school. The defense successfully applied to have her police statement admitted as a defense exhibit. Prosecution witness number 8, Ashim Juma, a car hire dealer from Entebbe, testified that the accused had contacted him via WhatsApp in March 2026 seeking to hire a vehicle. Juma stated that although initial agreements were not confirmed, the accused later hired a car which was delivered to his residence in Chanja upon payment of 338 Uganda shillings. 338,000 Uganda shillings. Juma added that shortly after receiving the vehicle, the accused reportedly alleged mechanical issues. However, proceedings were interrupted after the accused appeared unwell in court. His lawyers requested a temporary halt, which was granted. Upon resumption, Okello informed court that he was not in condition to stand trial, thus prompting Justice Alice Komhanji to adjourn the matter for today, the 16th of April. For further hearing, the accused was further remanded to Ruzila prison. Members of Parliament have continued to mount pressure on government of Uganda, especially the Sports Ministry, calling it on to speed the upgrade and development of AFCON 2027 facility, which ranges from stadiums to hotel, if we are to realize the dream of hosting the tournament. However, legislators argue their case in Parliament. At Mandela National Stadium, there is total silence with no visible work on site. With its construction that kicked off in 1993 and completed in 1997, Mandela National Stadium is home to Uganda's sports activities, mainly football and athletics. 29 years down the road, the stadium, which has hosted almost all soccer heavyweights from across the continent, is now currently in a sleep mode to pave way for the 2027 AFCON Cup of Nations Championship uptake. In the Wednesday sitting, which was yesterday's session, members of Parliament were equally adamant on whether we are on the right path, or if not, we take up prayers. At Mandela National Stadium, engineers, brigades are the bishops of the Sekafa civil ordinations, and although they confirm that funds for this have been trickled down to their station, more prayers are still needed if we are to host the tournament. Now, finally, from the local scene, the Deputy Inspector General of Government, Patricia Okwiriya, has tasked public officers to comply with the Declaration of Wealth exercise. Declaration of wealth by public officials is a legal mandate of Inspectorate of Government aimed at identifying corrupt officials whose wealth does not match or equate to their income. The Leadership Code Act 2002 requires all public officers to declare their income, assets and liabilities to the Inspectorate of Government after every 5 years. That's why the Deputy Inspectorate of Government, Dr. Patricia Okwiriya, is in West Nile, starting with Arua City to create awareness amongst government officials about the exercise. This exercise helps the IGG in understanding the genuineness of wealth accumulated by government officials. Okwiriya disclosed that any government official who refuses to comply with the Declaration of Wealth exercise has legal action to be taken against them. According to the Deputy Mayor of Arua City, Miri Nzikuru, no official of Arua City Council has been in trouble over failure to declare their wealth for the last 5 years. Well, Julie, that brings us to the end of our local stories and the issue is declaring your wealth. Now, that could be hard for some people.
Right.
Because some people have unexplained wealth. You tell them to to declare, and they're like, now,
where do I start?
This house.
Anyways.
You don't understand how you made this work.
Anyways, let's have a quick look at what we have on the global scene. And we're starting off, of course, with the usual dramatic presidential duo. This time around, it's with the vice president. Be careful. Vance issues warning to Pope Leo when discussing theology. Well, after President Donald Trump clashed with Pope Leo the 14th over the war in Iran, Vice President J.D. Vance said the leader of the Catholic Church should be careful when talking about theology. Now, Vance, who converted to Catholicism and calls himself deeply religious, told the audience on April 14th at a Turning Point USA rally in Georgia that he welcomed the Pope commenting on immigration and abortion. But Vance said the pontiff was wrong to say that political figures should never wield the sword because that would have opposed the U.S. liberation of France and the Holocaust. Concentration camps during the World War II. I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology, Vance said. Pope Leo had said in a social media post on April 10th that anyone who is a disciple of Christ is never on the side of those who once wielded the sword and today drop bombs. Vance said the pontiff should be as careful talking about theology as the vice president is when talking about public policy. I like that the Pope is an advocate for peace. I think that's certainly one of his roles, Vance said. On the other hand, how do you say that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword? When the Pope says that God is never on the side of people who wield the sword, there is more than 1,000-year tradition of just war theory. Vance continued, we can of course have disagreements about whether this or that conflict is just interesting when two religious human beings clash over opinions. But let's move on to the European Union that says that a new age verification app is technically ready. The app is designed to meet the bloc's strict digital rules. The tool could soon help users prove their age online without sharing personal data. European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced on Wednesday. Once released, users will be able to download the app from an app store and set it up using proof of identity such as a passport or national ID card. It feels like this leaves out those who use Android, if at all it's only on App Store that is mentioned. But they can use it to confirm they are above a certain age when accessing restricted content without revealing their identity. And according to the Commission, the system is similar to the digital certificates used during the COVID-19 pandemic, which allowed people to prove their vaccination status. The app is expected to support enforcement of the bloc's Digital Services Act, which aims to better regulate online platforms. This includes restricting access to content such as pornography, gambling, and alcohol-related services. Officials say that the app will be completely anonymous and built on open-source technology, meaning it could also be adopted outside the EU. I think this would work for Uganda. Speaking of which, let's come to the continent. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed veteran politician Rolf Meyer as the country's ambassador to the United States. After a year when the post was vacant amid difficult ties with Donald Trump's administration in Washington, Ramaphosa's spokesperson Vincent Magwenya announced the appointment in a message to the Associated Press and other news outlets. I can confirm that President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed Mr. Rolf Meyer as South Africa's ambassador to the U.S., he said, effective immediately. Rolf Meyer was a member of parliament from 1979 to 1997 and was Minister of Defense from 1991 to 1992 under the white minority government of former President F.W. de Klerk's National Party. He was later a chief negotiator in the talks that brought an end to apartheid and led to the election of Nelson Mandela as South Africa's first black leader in 1994. Meyer served as Mandela's first unity government cabinet as Constitutional Development Minister from 1994 to 1996. He later founded the United Democratic Movement, a center-left party that still exists in South Africa, but which holds a negligible 300 or 400 seats in the National Assembly. Meyer is no longer a member. And that brings us to the end of what we have on the global scene, but time to quickly look at the headlines that are merging in the dailies.
Now let's look at what the New Vision has for us this morning. Government moves to crack down on absenteeism in schools. Teachers' pay system to change. And up the New Vision, witness counts. Ritual-like killings, blogger injured at court premises. And still we look at LC elections, Finance Ministry clears 57 billion shillings. Politics is expensive. Democracy is expensive. This is voting by lining behind a candidate of your choice. And President Museveni stresses importance of national defense. Well, I see some of the National Resistance Movement MPs who are independent leaning now participating in shooting. You can see them there holding guns. And Fanero and Heart Institute fight over land. Which land? Is it the Naguru land, where the vision gives you more? And still looking at the new vision, there is so much tenders there for you, offers in, so you can check out and find more. Now let me quickly go through the daily monitor. Well, the bill that Julie talked about as we began the show makes a headline there, and case resumes today as judge asks for Okello's medical report. There's something was mentioning that he's suffering from script. Something, was that script? I was sure something like script.
Right.
I don't know if I heard that right. Then African countries increase fuel prices, that is the East African countries, and milk coolers gather dust as farmers count losses. Now Nabanja Kiptoris clash over wetland. Which wetland? And still moving in, new vehicle fee has a double taxation flow. Ooh. And finally, inside NRM Chankwanzi resolution.
Indeed. And speaking of the resolution, it's something we're looking at in just a bit. But the headlines making it outside of Uganda, that is Tanzania and Kenya. In the Citizen, representing Tanzania, the headline there is CEOs cautiously optimistic amid fresh global shocks. And who's paying for what for fuel in East Africa? Who's paying what fuel? What for fuel in East Africa? And the Daily Nation still matters. Fuel pumping up pain. That's the headline on there. And ripped off twice, how kidney donor who was paid peanuts lost. Again, some of the headlines to look into from the dailies this morning. Get yourself a copy of any of them and delve deeper. Now let's have a short break. When we get back, we're looking at the aftermath of the NRM Chankwanzi retreat. Be part of the conversation. 0709 602 592 by text WhatsApp. Good morning. Good morning, Uganda. It's a Thursday, a day that announces the weekend and gives you hope that rest is coming your way. It is the 16th of April, 2026. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. Now, a bill designed to protect Uganda from foreign interference was read for the very first time on the 15th of April, 2026, and read by the State Minister of Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi. Now, some MPs cite that the bill was sneaked to the floor of Parliament and never followed the right procedures, and legislators argue that the bill intends to target individuals, and some legislators are awaiting for the bill at committee stage to punch holes into it. Now, keep in mind that Parliament is left with only 3 weeks to pass this bill, yet it comes with a load of complications and yet stands with limited time. Under the bill, a Ugandan citizen living outside Uganda is classified as a foreigner, and a family member in Uganda receiving funds from that person could qualify as an agent of a foreigner. And of course, before a bank releases that money, it would be required to obtain a ministerial funding declaration and proof of authorization from the Minister of Internal Affairs. And the bill contains no exemption for remittances. We definitely follow it up as it unfolds, but it gets the hairs of every Ugandan standing. And looking at the side of the economics of the country, well, we watch as it unfolds. Now, I'm not alone this Thursday. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, as always, the A-team, to kickstart your morning every single weekday. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, viewer. At least with Julia, I won't say good morning because we meet before coming on set.
I know, right?
But anyway, I like the mood, and I hope our viewer equally, you've woken up in good spirit. Because yes, it is Thursday, the evening of the weekend, because Friday we are ushering in the weekend.
Right.
And still you need to have that positive mindset.
Yeah.
Look at life with positivity. Don't tolerate negativity. Look at everything as possible until you fail.
Speaking of positivity, I'd like to just smile at the fact that we woke up putting on the same color, a very powerful color. Boldness.
Now, yesterday, yet again, I saw a challenge that we still have as a country.
Right.
Not knowing that in our laws, some members of society have not understood that even a suspect has rights.
Indeed.
Some members of society have not understood that a person is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a competent court.
Beyond reasonable doubt, yeah.
Beyond reasonable doubt, and going through a thorough judicial process. Now, we saw Christopher Onyum Okello back at the High Court's session at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center. And when his lawyers informed court that he wasn't feeling fine and they went for a break, some of the people who had come for that court sitting began expressing mannerism that is not that very friendly. Finally, when he resumed and told the judge that he wasn't feeling fine and could not continue,
Right.
some even wanted to throw chairs, you know. But these are things you should understand and interest yourself. First, know that yes, we are seeking for justice. And I'm not a devil's advocate. I'm also very upset with what happened. But we have laws to follow. That yes, this person is assumed and presumed innocent until the final day. Even if you have me on camera, we can say it's AI. you can say, but Robert, you have you on camera killing. I can tell you, how many people did John Rainbow kill? He's on camera killing. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Will we take that as, you know,
Evidence.
Was it acted? Today we have AI. Now, it is only court through a process that will tell us that this man did commit the offense.
Right.
I'm seeking for justice. I'm praying for justice. I want to remind you, this is just a public court. But we've had many times when suspects come out and clearly say they're not in possession. But I also want to pray for our brother, Murana Ronald, who is a blogger. In that accident that happened as they were offloading the suspect at Gaba Early Childhood Center when the prison van could not hold brakes and rammed into journalists, severely injuring Ronald Morana. We are praying for you. Of course, he doesn't have a particular media house, but he communicates.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for choosing UBC TV this morning. And if you're just joining in, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda on UBC TV, inspiring Uganda. And if you started the show with us, thank you always. Having you on board is such a pleasure. It's time for The Real. And we're looking at the aftermath of the Chankwanzi retreat, the NRM Chankwanzi retreat. My name is Julie F. Nantaba with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono and a guest on the other side of the phone whom we are introducing in just a bit. But the newly elected MPs of the NRM had a one-week retreat at NALI, that is the National Leadership Institute. And that 1 week had a lot of stories that were given to us to chew on. Now, this morning we are chewing, of course, on the aftermath, looking at impact, internal cohesion, alongside national implications. And to have this conversation with us is Honorable Richard Todwong, Secretary General of the NRM Party. But your opinion to share is your views on whether the week-long Chankwanzi retreat delivered meaningful outcomes, or in your opinion it was just merely a symbolic engagement. 0709-602592 by text WhatsApp, but also the conversation can be followed on our X-handle at UBC TV Uganda. The hashtag is UBCGMU. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, Julian. Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Ugandans.
Such a pleasure having you this morning. Now, one of the conversations from NALI that is on the minds of Ugandans is the issue of the speakership race. And allow us start with that one just to break the ice as well. As we look forward to having the 12th Speaker of Parliament, how did you resolve the issue of adopted children and those who can access the bedroom?
Well, thank you so much. Let me first congratulate the members of Parliament for concluding the retreat so well and being very active during the retreat. We found them extremely brilliant. This new lot of members are extremely brilliant, and are very passionate about the transformation of the country. And we enjoyed our time with them at Chankwanzi, and that's how they came up with such brilliant resolutions. I also need to thank the President for sponsoring the retreat and for being around and lecturing, and also giving us reading materials that we added on the list of reading materials that we had prepared for the members of Parliament. Now, about your question, the retreat was not about the race for the speakers. The retreat was just to help the new MPs to bond with the party, with the leadership, and to realign them to the main objective of the common goals of the party. And we did not even discuss the issue of the speakership, and it wasn't part of our agenda. But that, of course, the President made a comment that the Central Executive Committee of the party made resolutions in view of the elections of the speakers. And if there is anybody with any other opinion which is against the resolution of the Central Executive Committee, such a person can put it in writing, and we shall discuss such by its own merit. But for now, let us focus on the resolution, and the party has reasons why they make resolutions. And so the President also said we shall explain to the caucus at the right time why we made a resolution as SEC as to why we should maintain the Right Honorable Annette Among and Right Honorable Thomas Taiba as Speaker and Deputy Speakers respectively. And that was how the matter was settled, and therefore there was nothing much out of that. So yes, that question was put to rest, and we did not even discuss it at Chankwanzi at all.
Very interesting, Honorable, how the media had portrayed it as if there was a rebuck on the initial decision.
No, there was nothing.
Now, moving on, Honorable, you've talked about party cohesion, but Ugandans are interested to know, those that are not even members of NRM, how was it beneficial to me? Let
me just help you to give you the thematical areas within which we made these resolutions. It can help answer that question.
Please.
Our resolutions are in 4 areas. The first was on ideological alignment, accountability, and public service reforms. The second one was on economy and socioeconomic transformation. The third was on legislative oversight, public accountability, and the last was on political mobilization. So if I can briefly touch on all of them, you'll see where all those questions would fall. Under ideological alignment and accountability, we talked of leaders who should be active, leaders who should be able to know their areas, leaders who should be able to know how many households are in my constituency, how many roads are in my constituency, which are national roads and local government roads, how many bridges are affecting production and productivity and movement of people, what is the level of economic growth in my area, what crops do the people grow, which other crop can grow in my area, just to have total knowledge of your constituency. How many families are in commercial production, how many families are still in subsistence production. These national statistical reports we keep giving, we decided to decentralize it to constituencies, and members of parliament should be on top of their constituencies by knowing from the basic indicators to the lowest, and therefore we challenge them to, and we can only do that by understanding the basic ideological framework of the party and of the government. That is what we believe and stand for as a party. We believe in total unity, we believe in the 4 pillars of the party, patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. You align your constituency based on that. And we also say leaders should not be lazy. Leaders that access public service should be leaders who love the people, who are easily accountable, who are accessible. We realize that leaders who are like demigods. You get into the office, you leave your coat in the office, and you disappear the whole day. You're not there. People come to see you. You don't want to see people. Then why are you in public service? Public service means should be accessible by the public. So we talked about all that and how we should reform public service to make sure that leaders are people who attend to the population, and that form one cluster of the resolutions. The second cluster of resolution is about the economy and socio-economic transformation. Under the economy, we are talking on the policies that help us with the economic growth. We stood firm and say we are going to believe and support the 10-fold economic growth strategy that government introduced. We intensifying the National Development Plan 4 that has been passed, and therefore we believe that all this should be taken down to the constituencies, and these leaders should know that those are the development agenda of NRM and the government. We also talked of intensifying on issues of economy through deepening revenue collection, expanding revenue collection, and making sure that we also protect our raw materials from being exported raw outside the country. We talked of skilling the youth, skilling the country, skilling the manpower, so that the education system that we inherited from way back, which are not helping our young people, should be incorporated in the system that can help. We had a presentation by one of the professors who spoke of a degree plus one, meaning you go to a university, you study your degree, but you also learn a skill in the university, which was not part of your initial plan of joining the university. You can learn carpentry, you can learn electrical work, you can learn plumbing, you can learn some other skill in addition to your degree. So that by the time you come out and you fail to get a job from the degree qualification, the other skill can make you have some point of entry in the market. We spoke about the health and health services, where we were emphasizing that our primary goal in healthcare system is we speak prevention more than curative health. Preventive health to us is the most important thing, that when we look at the basic healthcare public health system of immunization, vaccination, sleeping under mosquito net, eating balanced diet, eating boiled food, well cooked food, keeping your environment clean, behavioral change, and all that would reduce hospital visit and hospital attendance. And that means the healthcare system would only attend to maternal health care, and then the other non-communicable diseases, which is a disease for all people, pressure, diabetes, and all that kind of thing. So we talked at length about that, and we made a resolution to that effect. We also spoke about ICT, the penetration of ICT to the community and to all sectors, improving transport means in Kampala to reduce the traffic jam in Kampala. We spoke about Kampala city seriously, because it is affecting the economy. When you sit in a traffic jam for 2 hours just to move from point 1 to point B, which is less than 2 kilometers, that affects the economy seriously. So we spoke about it and we made a resolution to that effect. And therefore, we also spoke about, like I said, mining and how we should continue not supporting the exportation of raw materials outside this country. On the issue of legislative oversight and public accountability, we spoke about institutional alignments, because we realize that government performs in silos. What one ministry is doing, another one is also doing, the other one is also doing. So we challenge the government to realign so that ministries stop duplication of activities. We also realize that the anti-corruption fights seems to be what we should start biting, and then members committed themselves that we should start biting, and this starts from the Auditor General reports that are presented before Parliament. The parliamentary accountability committees should be more serious. When you go to COSASI, when you go to Public Accounts Committee, Local Government Accounts Committee, all those committees, when they make reports, those reports should be actualized through implementation to the latter. And then, of course, we concluded with the political mobilization. We should always be with the people, talk to the people, communicate to them, be a social doctor, guide them, help them come out of their problems, attend to them. So those are the clusters of our resolutions, and it captured many of the areas that you could be asking for.
Well, Honorable, that seems all inclusive if well implemented. But I'm so interested in the aspect of fighting corruption, where also His Excellency was very, very strong in terms of speaking against it, even giving examples of those that have somehow danced to the music when found short of their glory of honorable members of parliament. Now, Honorable, it seems we've over-talked about corruption. When is action? That is the question many Ugandans are now asking.
You see, the law is very clear that you have to be proof guilty. You are innocent until proof guilty. And so with the war on corruption, corruption is like a religion. It is like it's spiritual. It resides in somebody's heart. You might think it's not only about government, it's not only about the leadership. Yes, we now bring it to the leadership because the leadership has the constitutional mandate to act on those who are corrupt, especially in public service. But when you look at corruption subject, it affects all sectors of our community. That in the church, in NGOs, in families, in all the non-governmental entities, there is corruption. In all the government agencies, there is corruption. So it's about community standing up to the occasion to fight corruption. Because if you say it is only government to fight, therefore we wait for what government is doing, government's hands are tied by the laws that we pass, that one must be proved guilty before a court. So proving somebody guilty, because when most of these transactions of corruption, people don't write. You don't even need to know that you may not. It's like someone cannot tell you that I picked something from somebody, or somebody who is taking something to someone will not even tell you that I have taken. You only get to see when you start suspecting something. Somebody is getting this, someone is behaving like this. It's through behavioral change. So that becomes very complicated to prove that actually the house you have built, the vehicle you are driving, you got the money out of corruption. It is very difficult to prove that. So we are now saying government should move very fast to digitalize governance, meaning human-to-human contact should be reduced. We now need to deal with the machines so that we avoid the incidences of people being corrupt. We spoke a lot about procurement within the government system, and we made a resolution that government should start procuring goods direct from the suppliers than going through middlemen, because the aspect of middlemen and the aspect of physical contact is what brings corruption. So everything should be automated so that we reduce contacts and money transfers among people. So yes, we know people are looking for that, and the president has been very, very emphatic. He emphasized that we must fight as much as possible as the new parliament not to be corrupt. And so he really emphasized that point, and that means this time round he's not going to forgive anybody who is involved in such.
All right, thank you very much. Honorable, in case you're just joining the show, well, we're looking at the aftermath of the NRM Chakwanzi retreat, and we're having this conversation with Honorable Richard Todwong, Secretary General of the NRM party. And for your opinion, share your views on whether the week-long Chakwanzi retreat delivered meaningful outcomes or was merely a symbolic engagement. What is your opinion? 0709-602-592 by text WhatsApp. But even on our X handle at UBCTV Uganda, the hashtag is UBCGMU. Now, Honorable, let's look at public perception and criticism. Some Ugandans view such retreats as really costly and, of course, coming out with limited tangible results as outcomes. How do you justify the investment?
Governance is not cheap. To govern, you need to spend money. To bring all these MPs together, close to 500 people in one venue, definitely you have to be with them, feed them, accommodate them. So yes, it comes with some little resource, which we added on the school. The school, like I said last time, has a budget under government, and it was some of the things that we always plan. For every time we elect new leaders, we always take them for the retreat. So that was already within the budget, and so we only added because we invited independent members who are part of independent members who are willing to work with NRM to join us. So this time around the number was a bit big, and it was a good retreat. So yes, if you don't call them for a meeting, you don't call them for a retreat, how would you have time to harmonize their thinking if you want proper clean governance process? So it is important that we call leaders together for a retreat, and we even made a resolution that we should be doing this every year, because we need to be checking ourselves every year. How have we performed? Most likely by the end of every financial year, we need to go for a retreat to close a financial year with a retreat. In this financial year, this was our plan. These were the ministerial policy statements. How far did we move from point 1 to point B? Which ministry lag behind? Which ministry is slow? Which ministry? So we shall be calling ministries to come and account how they have been able to perform in every financial year. And I think that will be good for members also to fast track the performance of the different ministries. I think that is a good thing. Yes, others might think it is a waste of time, but to me, I think it is a very important. Leadership should be meeting frequently.
Right, and in the same spirit, to citizens who might as well feel disconnected from a retreat such as this one, in the aftermath, what's the plan to make sure that every Ugandan is brought on board and no one is left behind in protecting the gains?
We will deal through leadership, and maybe the next one we shall improve to even invite those who are leaders in opposition to come and join us. Like this time, Honorable Norbert Mao was there. He's a President General of the Democratic Party. He was at the retreat. I'm sure he realized that retreat is not as they were thinking before. They always thought going to Chakwanzi is nothing but dancing, being in military fatigue and all that. But I think Honorable Norbert Mao went to Chakwanzi and saw something different. So when we invite other members of opposition, I think they will start appreciating our journey to proper governance, because they don't know. They think NRM has been in power out of luck. No, we plan this systematically, and we do our planning and implement them accordingly. So yes, we shall consult and see if in the next retreat we shall also invite these other opposition friends to come, and because to govern we have to move together. You cannot be out of the planning process and think you can be in opposition to. Now you oppose what? You oppose what you don't know. You first have to know what you should be able to oppose. So I think in the future it could be good for us to share such retreats with them.
Now, Honorable, in public interest, at the closure of the retreat, His Excellency, the chairperson of NRM, mentioned something to do with giving 100 million to members of parliament. This has piqued so much concern on various platforms. We need a word from you over this issue.
Well, the president is always generous. The president is always supportive. And he said instead of members going to money lenders to borrow money from money lenders, then tomorrow they'll start running around, they'll be arrested and all that. They are looking for money for swearing in. They want to go for swearing in, go to their constituencies. And the president said, no, I will support you, but by installment, not at once. For now, I can give you something little. You go and organize your swearing in. Then later on, I'll keep giving little, because the president has some little money for donation. So if he can donate to others, why can't he donate to members of parliament? So that should not even raise an alarm. What is wrong with members of parliament getting donation from the president?
Well answered, Honorable.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Honourable. As we begin to close this off, a comment comes through. Chankwanzi retreat is good for our members of parliament because it makes them active, not lazy in parliament. This is Kachope Apuli, who just shared that. And it looks like from this comment, it's a way of perhaps now the government-elect to push for all members of parliament without regard for party to go for that retreat at the end of the day. But Honourable, your parting shots.
Thank you so much. We are moving step by step. We have organized our MPs. The next is now we are planning for the swearing in, which is on the 12th of May. We believe that all Ugandans will join us at Kololo on the 12th of May to see the new president being sworn in and the new government starting thereafter. We thank Ugandans once again for voting for NRM and for giving us very good MPs. These members of parliament are extremely brilliant. The engagement we had with them at Chankwanzi were very impressive, and so we believe we should maintain them as that. Please don't cause them confusion. Leaders should not recruit them onto things which are not good. Let them focus at building this country and building Uganda, and we shall have a very good parliament. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for your time, Honourable Richard Todwong, Secretary General of the NRM Party. We've been looking at the aftermath of the NRM retreat. Thank you so much for being part of the show and following the conversation. UBC Good Morning Uganda does continue. Up next is GMU Tourism Express, Business Agenda and Sports. Good morning.
This is Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
I welcome you to the Kabaka's Lake. My name is Elvis Sechibule, a guide working under Buganda Heritage and Tourism Board. The place where we are currently, we are at the largest man-made lake we have in the east and the central of Africa. Now, this lake has a very unique significance to the kingdom of Buganda and the country Uganda at large. In Buganda, whenever the kings came on the throne, the king had the main role of establishing for himself a palace. And this palace could be the capital for that very king or during his reign. The kings never liked their palaces to be far away from water bodies, especially Lake Victoria. And these water bodies would enhance trade. In case of any attack, the king would use this water body as an escape route. So Kabaka Mwanga established his palace at Mengo Hill in 1885, just up there. It's a very short distance from the lake here to the king's palace, Mwanga. That's why he established his palace. Then the official digging of this lake began in 1886. Kabaka Mwanga gave this work to a rich gentleman known as Musoke. Musoke spearheaded the initial digging of this lake. This lake was dug manually using hands. They could use tools, the local tools like hoes, spades, baskets, which could help them to cut out mud and dump it up there. Actually, most of the county chiefs in the kingdom, they were in charge of overseeing and looking after this work which was being done here. People could wake up early morning at exactly 6 a.m. and they could leave work at exactly 6 p.m. late in the evening. County chiefs, they could come here and inspect the rolls, and Musoke was the chief who could instruct the digging. Later, Musoke failed, and the work was taken to Kagwandi Mukulaga. That was his name. Kagwandi Mukulaga did the second stage of the digging of this lake, and later Wakome Chiengera finalized this work. The intention of this lake was to reach Lake Victoria along the river which crosses to Chibuye, then Narukolongo. The king had a palace in Munyonyo, that side. In his Munyonyo palace, that's why he could carry the goods from Munyonyo to the palace, or from the palace of Mengo, then to Munyonyo. So this lake is sitting in between two hills. We have the hill of Mengo and the hill of Rubaga. And actually it has two roads which cross it. We have Nabunya Road and then Mengo Ring Road. Before this lake was established, this was a swamp which was commonly known as Nsike. Nsike was the swamp where the Baganda people could do their athletics, especially wrestling and entertainment of the king. During the reign of Kabaka Daudi Chwa, on the island which is in the middle of the lake, which you can see, it has a name. It is called Nambi, Nantutululu. That's why I could sit and entertain him with boat racing and then arm wrestling in the mud here. This lake has a lot of importances today. It's a tourist attraction in the middle of Kampala, and it houses a number of bird species. We have great cormorants, we have the Hadada ibis here, we have the open-billed stork, we have the cattle egrets, and many, many others. So visitors who are passionate about birding, Kabaka's Lake in Kampala is also a priority. More on this, to be more specific, this lake houses a number of fish species. In the future plans of the kingdom, for those who will be passionate about sport fishing, this will be a very, very good place. It has generated a number of employment opportunities to people living around it. The youths who wash vehicles around here. It has enhanced also building activities. The hotel where we are currently, Popo, St. Lawrence University, and other infrastructure around, whereby they drain water from this very, very lake. It is called the Kabaka's Lake. Kabaka literally means the king. That's the title given to the king of Buganda, Inyanja ya Kabaka. Today there is a plan of developing of this area, and the chairperson of this project was Freeman Chiimba. That was the role given to him. The last mapping showed that this lake is sitting on 57 acres of land, and the current depth is 5 feet deep in the ground. It's considered to be the largest man-made lake we have in the eastern center of Africa. And we expect that the developments which will be done on it will generate more employment opportunities, and it will be crucial to the people who are living around it. I thank you very much. My name is Elvis Sechibule, guide with the Buganda Heritage and Tourism Board.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to business. Now let's talk money matters, where the Uganda Hotels Owners Association has expressed dissatisfaction over the conditions placed in the proposed value-added tax amendment bill 2026, which seeks to introduce the input tax credit initiative. Government wants to allow input credit for VAT incurred within a year period to commissioning the facility for the consumption phase of a hotel, where the developer invests at least 10 million United States dollars for a foreigner, 5 million for a citizen. Hotel owners welcome the move but decry the 5 million, proposing 1.5 million for a citizen. Let's take a look at that.
In the proposed value-added tax amendment bill 2026, the government seeks to promote infrastructure that supports the tourism sector by allowing developers of qualifying tourism facilities to claim input VAT incurred during the construction phase. This has been welcomed by the hotel owners through their umbrella body, the Uganda Hotel Owners Association.
So we appreciate that there is a measure in the right direction.
This move, if approved, will come at a cost, especially to the citizens who are potential investors and are required to have a minimum investment threshold of $5 million.
And we know that there are some hoteliers in this room, whether they are on this side or the other side, but we know that from our surveyors, hotel owners, the 5 million cap, we don't reach it.
The beneficiaries question the intentions of the proposals, claiming that over 90% of the players in the industry could be locked out by the minimum threshold.
Because you could have an investor who is very big and is up country entirely, or somebody is small and is in Kampala. So where is the equity supposed to arise from, the location or the nature of the business? So there are permutations which should be looked at.
If this parliament and government is going to encourage realization of the deals in the madivans in different parts of the country, let us lower this threshold and be in a position to encourage the upcoming people with incentives. And I can tell you that way we shall have done this country a lot of good.
The proposal places the threshold for foreign investors at $10 million. However, the stakeholders claim that this could raise questions of competitive neutrality. The hotel owners claim that the move could instead discourage investment, hence requesting the threshold is lowered and the number of years increased from 2 to 4.
$1 million would be good enough, and we shall be in a position to realize positive results much faster than would have been the case.
Meanwhile, the Parliamentary Committee on Finance has been informed to press hard on the government to put additional tax on cigarettes. The Uganda Tobacco Tax Coalition claims that the move to neglect the sector is harmful, hence proposing an additional 200 shillings on cigarettes.
And it's very possible, because if we could increase by 100% on imported, 200% is also possible on locally produced cigarettes, so that we collect more revenue and most importantly also
so
save
you're
the
proposing
Ugandans.
an amendment which is not there.
Which is not here, and we are saying
it's
it's very important for it to be there.
Government has employed various revenue collection strategies, including proposing for additional 200 shillings on fuel, among others. This has been criticized. The telecom companies have also expressed dissatisfaction over the 6.5 excise duty tax on mobile money. These, including MTN and Airtel Uganda, propose that the government reduces the levy to about 0.25%.
Mobile money continue to focus a lot on now proper financial inclusion, whereby we are going to drive a lot in insurance access, credit access, savings access, and investment. And we need to remove all the barriers that is making that bottom of the pyramid person not to come into the financial sector. So
This told the members of parliament sitting on the Parliamentary Committee on Finance that the tax on mobile money discourages transactions, and the intended move, if maintained, could worsen the situation.
You will have a projected collection from 2025-2026 to about 80 billion. And progressively this will go up in 2029 and 2030 to about 158 billion.
Daniel Mugoya,
you say any tax applied to financial services should be
just do for us one favor. Give us a...
Thank you, Daniel Mugoya and Gloria Bita. Engineer, let's move at Uganda opened its 3-day national performance review conference at Speak Resort Munyonyo. The event assesses progress of the Sustainable Development Goals and the National Development Plan 3 and charts accelerated socio-economic transformation.
Hunger and climate. Uganda's 2024 SDG performance review shows progress lagging behind national targets, with only 127 of the 201 relevant indicators fully tracked and several goals including poverty, hunger and climate action still off track. Government leaders and development partners stressed coordinated action amid tightening global resources and the need to leave no one behind.
Is actually by law and by the arrangement of the structure is local government are the centers of service delivery, because local governments are the structures that sit near the common person that needs the services. However, yes, the structures are put in the right way, but the challenge that it does not enable the local governments to deliver on their mandate is the aspect of finances, their funding.
We all need to recognise public financial management isn't just a technical issue for accountants and for auditors. Every delay, every bottleneck, every underperforming project has got a human cost.
Development partners called for faster integration of SDGs.
And we also invited the Chief Administrative Officer, who is the accounting officer, the one who carries the wallet of the district, to come and have discussions at the SDGs at those levels, but most importantly, bring down these SDGs into what was planned.
Prime Minister Right Honourable Robina Nabanja, as chief convener, highlighted Uganda's growing regional and global leadership through NAM, CADAP and the Kampala Declaration, while urging all government levels to adopt efficient, globally tested governance practices amid shrinking resource envelopes.
Honourable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I urge all participants to engage effectively, openly and constructively. Let us focus on solutions, innovations and measurable impact. Our ultimate goal is clear: to improve service delivery, create opportunities for our people, and ensure that no one is left behind.
The National Performance Review Conference on Uganda's development agenda, under the theme Coordinated Action for Accelerated National Socio-Economic Transformation Amidst Global Partnership, is expected to run for 3 days, with the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, expected on the third and final day this Friday, 17th April 2026.
Government leaders, development partners and experts are confronting hard truths that Uganda's SDG progress is lagging. Public financing systems need urgent reform, and leaving no one behind is no longer an option. Reporting for UBC News, Wadilo Arnold Mark in Munyonyo.
Thank you so much. Now let's look at the Consumer Publications Uganda officially launched the 2026 Business Excellency Awards, raising the bar for corporate excellency across the country. The awards mark a nationwide search for Uganda's most outstanding, innovative and consumer-centric businesses.
The initiative aims to recognize companies that are setting new standards in service delivery, creativity and impact.
This means winners are not determined by perception alone, but by a structured process that combines public nominations and participation, independent research and verification, evaluation across performances, innovation, sustainability, and customer experience. In essence, to win, a business must demonstrate not only success, but credibility.
This year's awards are expected to be even more competitive.
What does it take to win the Business Excellence Awards? It requires consistency, it requires trust, it requires innovation, it requires a deliberate commitment to serving customers with integrity, investing in quality and systems, building a strong and a credible brand, demonstrating measurable impacts. These awards are also important at a national level. They encourage businesses to compete on quality, not just price, provide visibility to emerging sectors and SMEs, attract investment by signaling credibility.
The importance of rewarding excellence and encouraging businesses is to continuously improve and adapt to customer needs. Nominations are now open, inviting enterprises of all sizes to take part in the prestigious competition. Winners will be unveiled at a gala event later this year in a ceremony expected to bring together key players from Uganda's business community.
French ambassador to Uganda, who has highlighted Makerere University as a key driver to knowledge shaping global economics and business trends. Speaking at the Kampala Geopolitics Conference, she noted that such platforms are critical, guiding investment decisions, trade relations, and policy direction. The conference brings together experts to analyze global risks and opportunities while emphasizing the need to translate decisions into sustainable action strategies that can support sustainable economic growth and regional business competitiveness. Let's conclude with that.
Examine how African governments and regional institutions navigate this expanding field of external engagement, and to what extent they are able to define priorities, set conditions, and leverage partnerships in pursuit of their own interests, development goals, security needs, and foreign policy objectives.
How can youth move from being passive beneficiaries or silent beneficiaries? It's not because you are passive. It's not because you are silent. It's sometimes that we don't hear you or give you the floor to really be part of the debate and the decision-making process. How can we so bring you to become active co-creators of the design, the implementation, and the evaluation of public policies.
The side of Makerere in our research-led agenda, where we want to move from seeing the geopolitics conference as a 2-3-day dialogue to a sustained engagement which feeds into our research portfolio, which feeds into the inquiry we undertake throughout our academic calendar and the conversations we have with stakeholders both within the university and within our development communities that we significantly engage with.
Here in Uganda, we are proud to work with the Institut Français, the French-German Fund, the Goethe Zentrum, and several private partners to create opportunities for cultural and educational exchange. French connects over or almost 400 million people, mostly Africans. French is an African language across 5 continents, and it strengthens Africa's voice on the world stage.
And now let's look at the Forex as of the 15th day of this very month and year. Now, opening, the United States dollar was buying at 3,695.95 and selling at 3,705.95. By midday, it was at 3,691.10 and selling at 3,701.10. Closing, the dollar was at 3,689.95 buying, and selling was at 3,699.95. The Great Britain pound closing was at 5,002.83 and selling was at 5,017.50. Now the euro was at 4,349.34. Buying and selling was at 4,361.50. The Kenyan shilling was at 28.52. Buying and selling 28.64. The Tanzanian shilling was at 1.40. Buying and selling was at 1.43. Now the South African currency was at 225.11 and selling at 225.81. And that brings us to the end of our business segment. Julie Nantabamusisi will be next with a guest, and you can't wait to listen to what they have for you regarding externalization of labor. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk to